I'd like to describe something that happened in the recent past and raise the question, could something similar be happening today in Palestine? Back on September 11th, 2001, I was your average American high school student. I very vividly remember everything that took place. I remember what the media was saying, and I remember the overall vibe of society in general and how people were feeling. We kept being shown footage over and over regarding the death and destruction of the buildings collapsing. And then alongside that death and destruction, we were shown a bunch of images like this of Arab Muslim men with beards and guns. And we were being told that they are these Islamic extremists and they just want to wipe us out. This being the case, I know for a fact, myself, many of my friends, many people in the society, we were conditioned to even subconsciously associate Muslims and Arabs with terrorists. It really dehumanized that specific demographic, and it wasn't seen as anything that could be dealt with diplomatically, because the idea was that it's not that these people are upset with our foreign policy that we can, negotiate or change in order to smooth things out. No, they just hate our freedom. They just hate us. They just want to kill all of us. So there's no reasoning with these people. They're basically animals that just want to kill us. So we have to kill them first. This was before smartphones and social media as we know it today, so we were very heavily dependent on the media and on what politicians told us. And we can't all be experts in every field. This is their job. They're politicians. They're in the military. They're supposed to be the experts, and we're supposed to be able to trust them. So with emotions at an all-time high, thanks to the mainstream media, Americans united, ready to fight this enemy behind the leadership of the American government. So what ended up happening is the U.S. military invaded Iraq, a country that had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. In March 2003, U.S. forces invaded Iraq, vowing to destroy Iraqi weapons of mass destruction and end the dictatorial rule of Saddam Hussein. When weapons of mass destruction intelligence proved illusory, what does that word mean? Based on illusion. Not real. When that intelligence proved to be an outright, completely utter lie, and a violent insurgency arose, the war lost public support. Saddam was captured, tried, and hanged, and democratic elections were held. In the years since, there have been over 4,700 U.S. and allied troop deaths and more than 100,000 Iraqi civilians have been killed. Let me repeat that. More than 100,000 Iraqi civilians have been killed over something that was fake, that was an illusion, that was a lie. And simply saying more than 100,000 is severely underplaying it. Let's remember what Madeleine Albright said. The former U.S. Secretary of State once publicly admitted that she thinks the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children were worth it. And that's not even getting into all the specifics of the suffering of those who survived, who were displaced, whose country was destroyed. The reason I'm mentioning all of this is because these are things that are factually accepted to be true today. And they did not happen long ago. They happened in my lifetime. The mainstream media lied. People in the government lied. Hundreds of thousands of people, civilians, were killed based on lies. And this happened in recent times. So ask yourself, does this sound familiar? Does it seem like there was some sort of attack that is being pushed in the mainstream media as being this awful thing that just came out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, based on a bunch of Muslim Arab animals that just want to wipe out a certain country, and there's no diplomacy that can be had with them. They just have to be wiped out. So there are all these thousands and thousands of innocent children being killed, being murdered in cold blood. Not to mention, because of 9/11, who was invaded, who suffered as a result? Iraq, who had nothing to do with it. What about the Holocaust? Who's suffering as a result of the Holocaust? Are the Germans suffering? Are the Nazis suffering? Or are the Palestinians suffering, who had nothing to do with it, who actually were welcoming the Jews after the Holocaust into Palestine? I'll end by mentioning this. Imagine you were just minding your own business and somebody came up to you, spit in your face, punched you in the nose, broke your nose, took your wallet, kicked you while you were down, and ran away. How would you feel about that person? I mean, how abused, how wronged, how oppressed would you feel? But at least this is something you can kind of wrap your head around. But when it comes to murdering thousands of children, innocent children, I can't even register that. You know what I mean? I can't even fathom how evil that is. It's so off the charts, let alone hundreds of thousands of people being killed, their countries being destroyed, their lives essentially being ruined. It's it's something you can't even comprehend. But the cherry on top of all of this is that the people who are carrying out these atrocities over and over again, they're seen as the civilized ones. They're seen as the righteous ones. They're seen as the humane ones. You cannot make this stuff up. Allah tells us in the Quran, and when it is said to them, make not mischief on the earth, they say, we are only peacemakers. Verily, they are the ones who make mischief, but they perceive not.